Hello, everyone. I'm Chuang. Let's draw the trunk of Carcharodontosaurus. Like many carnivorous dinosaurs, Carcharodontosaurus had a typical trunk structure of theropods. It had a wide and thick trunk, shoulder blades, and forelimbs and hind limbs supported by its pelvis. Before drawing, we need to note the proportion of each part, how its internal bones grew, how the muscles were attached to the bones, and how the skin wrapped its muscles, so we can clearly know that, where we can add folds, and where we need to leave blanks to make them look neat. Now let's draw the trunk of Carcharodontosaurus. One interesting thing about the body structure of Carcharodontosaurus is its head. Let's first roughly draw the position of its head, and show the general shape. We simply draw its mouth, the eye, the temporal fenestra, and the antorbital fenestra. Then, let's roughly draw its teeth. Then we move on to its neck backward. Its neck was almost as long as its head, but slightly shorter. When it was alive, its bones bent, so its neck looked shorter. Its shoulder might be here. We can use dotted lines to show its shoulder blade. When they stood up, they were similar to such a shape. In this position, its shoulder blade was close to its ribs. Here is the outline of its ribs. Above them, there were tall neural spines, which was an interesting feature of Carcharodontosaurids. Its neural spines were generally tall, and those in the front were large. They were getting taller toward its pelvis, and formed a high point at its pelvis. The whole trunk looked very long. Next, let's draw its tail. In this position, there was its pelvis. Although the neural spines at its pelvis were tall, the iliac bones on both sides of its pelvis were tall too. Then let's go back to draw its neck. Its neck mainly consisted of three big muscles. One was the major muscle, a very thick and large one, that was connected to its shoulder blade. Above this muscle, there was a triangular muscle, which extended to the top of its neck. Besides, there was a small muscle connected to the coracoid in the front of the shoulder blade. Then let's draw its soft throat. Behind its shoulder blades, there was a set of muscles connected to its forelimb. We can simply draw it. After that, let's draw its ribs. Under strong light, the shadows of some ribs could be faintly seen. Above its ribs, on the two sides of its neural spines, there were several muscles, which were generally two large groups of thick muscles. Now, let's draw its legs. Followed by the pubis and ischium. The back of its ischium was connected to its tail, and the front of its pubis was connected to its belly. In some previous restorations, the pubis was often made protruding, which caused its belly to form an S shape, thus it looked very thin. Later, we learned that the belly of this dinosaur was generally round and directly connected to its pubis. A lot of fossils of gastralia were discovered later, which proved that its gastralia and pubis connected and formed a big curve. Now, we've basically finished drawing the contour of Carcharodontosaurus. Then, we add some folds. The front of its legs, because of frequent movement, might have such wrinkles. So did its arms. The root of its tail had such wrinkles too. Between its legs and tail, There might be bald skin, so were the front of its legs. Good, like this, we've finished drawing the trunk of Carcharodontosaurus.